you have to rip its heart out, and then you have to apologize. I'm sorry I ripped your heart out, and give a little heart back to it. This is mixing. This is not... How's it going? It occurred to me that I have my strengths, what I'm good at, and my weaknesses. I'm not the most technical person there is. There's scientific channels out there who get really scientific, where it's like I'm watching a professor talk to me about music. And sometimes I do what I did when I was in school, which is just fall asleep at the desk. But these people sometimes are great. It's just, you know, somebody's styles work better for others or whatever. Over here, I get very into perception. I get very into what it sounds like, what it feels like, sounds like, but general concepts to achieve certain things rather than the specific nuanced details of how to do certain things. But we do both. It's just sometimes, you know, I tend to like this other kind of talk about the mindset a lot too. So I want to discuss the mindset of something critically important. The difference between mixing and mastering is a mindset. When I mix, the other day I was dealing with a song where it occurred to me so clearly that I need to get aggressive with the bass sound. And what I mean is, when I'm mixing, I get pissed off when things are not working the way I want. In other words, if I have a bass situation that's just too flubby, and I listen to it and I'm like, ooh, I don't love that. And I may throw a reference up just to be like, what does that sound like? Okay, that's tight and clean, and now listen to this. Ugh. And then I start working with it. If in a few minutes it doesn't sound better, and then I flip it and it's still not good, there's this thing that clicks in me, and I go, nah. And then I get aggressive, I get angry. And by getting internally angry, it allows me to deal with this sound in a way that I wouldn't if I was mastering. This is not the same. Just in your head while I'm talking, just realize how different mastering is. It's going to be the opposite of everything I'm saying pretty much. But I get so angry that I do things like, this sound thinks it can exist. It thinks it could just take up all this space. No way. And then I aggressively will take a fader, you know, of something like an EQ band and move it all the way as hard as it goes, and then I back it off a little. Or I take a threshold or something and I jam it all the way down to nothing, and then I back it off a little. I'll take a high pass, I'll take it way up too far where I took all its, you know, nuts away, and I pull it back a little bit. The point is, you have to rip its heart out, and then you have to apologize. I'm sorry I ripped your heart out, and give a little heart back to it. This is mixing. This is not anything other than mixing. So these are inanimate. This is not a person's life. You can do that with this, and you get good results. Because the point is, if you don't look at it that way, you wind up making version after version, and it's never quite right. Because the answer is never, you know, dancing around the issue. The answer is always getting rid of the issue and then bringing it back till it's the right amount. It's the same with volume. You know how to get the volume right? First of all, you have to make the sound where it's not so loud that your ears are naturally compressing and changing the sound of everything. The volume coming out of the speakers has to be the right volume for you, which for me is relatively low, so that I can hear everything. And I'll take a sound and make it way too low where I can't hear it, and then I pull it up until it feels right. Or the opposite, I might make it too loud where it's distracting. Now I pull it back the other way, depending on what I'm going for, until it's the perfect volume. In other words, it's never about these little incremental movements until I'm happy with it. Once I'm happy with it, then it's only about little incremental movements. But to get happy with it, there's this aggression and mindset that absolutely must take place, because it allows you to make things happen. That's why Al Schmidt is doing what he's doing. That's why you get things like amazing bass sounds. Because people were like, I'm jamming this thing, and then we're gonna do a little smush. And then all of a sudden, it brings stuff to life. All right? There's a reason Andy Wallace does that. There's a reason CLA is sitting there explaining in tons of Mix with the Master videos that it doesn't matter what the number is. Does it need more? He cranks it. There's a reason. And these are people that This is mixing. This is this mindset of there's a thing and it's bothering us. And, you know, one of my mentors is funny, right? Maybe it's the personality trait of me and just a lot of people who do this. It's a slightly unhinged thing to do this, you know? Some people may be different, but for me, like the people I know, like one of my mentors is the most soft-spoken guy you've ever heard in your life. He's practically whispering. He's just calm. He's down here. It's so, you know, and it's just really chill. But this guy, you know, it's like he's this close, one bad joke away from just taking your head off, just snapping, you know. But he's down here most of the, because it's this crazy thing that happens where if you don't act, if you're not aggressive as an individual, inside, internally, if it doesn't make you angry when the bass won't listen to you, and when something is not is not doing what it's supposed to, if it doesn't make you angry, it never gets fixed. You can't fix it with little increments. You can't do it that way. You have to do it where like you're making stuff happen. If you don't make your moves, the thing won't get there. That's the point. Now let's talk mastering. It's taking what's there and just making it a little different here and there. You're not supposed to really change it a ton during mastering. Nobody's ever expecting a mastering engineer to repaint the picture. It's never how it has happened ever. So you would look at it like little here, little there, little. It's got to come back the same, but better, but the same. And notice that's not a part of mixing, really. It's really not. You know, and especially today's world, the word mix, I've talked about this a lot. It means different things to different people. For me personally, I made the definition, in my opinion, mean something that it might not mean to everybody. What mixing means to me is also slightly related to production. It's slightly related to sound design and how everything's going to come out. Because the parts that were played and all this stuff that was handled by the producer then goes to the mixing engineer, and that guy's making decisions. It's a dangerous, risky thing to do. I'm not saying everybody should do it. But what I realized long ago is something that works for me, is that I want to give the people, I want to give them something they can't get from anybody else. So I'm not looking to just make it sound really good, because really good is subjective and everybody can make it sound really good. If I add creative elements that nobody else is doing, in my opinion, they can't get that elsewhere. And when I was them, when I was the artist, I was looking for that. I was like, where is the rest? Where's all the rest? You're telling me like I have to do it, or somebody, who's going to do it? So what I realized is I have to do it. You know, for myself, when I was an artist, like I had to learn how to do something or something, but it's the same thing with this. I basically give them what I wanted back then, which was somebody to do everything possible, whatever that is. Delays, chops, stutters, freaking pauses, change the way this goes, make the drop bigger, make the this, whatever. I wanted it to be whatever it wasn't. You know, add reverse delays, create ambiance, every single thing that might not have been there. If it could be there, if it needed to be there, in my head, I'm putting it there. Because I want them to say, wow, I don't know what you did and what is happening there. What is that? But I love it. That's what I want them to say. They don't have to know how I did it. It's not important. What they have to know, well, we may talk about how I did it on here because that's what's really good. That's why you like and subscribe. That's why you're over here, because that's what we do. But it's not really important for them to know. They have to love it. They just have to love it. So they don't care what the term mixing means. They don't care what the term producer means. They just care, is this amazing or is it not? If it sounds amazing, nothing else matters. So I'm taking risks, granted, but I'm also making things sound great and at the same time adding a creative element they can't get elsewhere. So I'm making myself invaluable in the process, or valuable, depending on how you look at that word. I'm going to think about that one for the next 5 minutes after this. I'm usually pretty proficient with my vocabulary. Proficient or efficient? Anyway, I'm in the middle of this weird vocabulary brain fart, but I'm going to share that with you guys too, because we're human. We're human. It's usually my strong suit. But anyway, I didn't take Latin for 25 years for nothing. Now, it wasn't that long, but it felt like forever. I don't know why I took Latin for so long. But now my vocabulary is crazy. Anybody? Anyway, okay. I don't know how we got here, but you get what I'm saying? This all's making sense, hopefully, all right? There's sense. There's some sense dangled in here. You guys got this. Piece of cake, all right? If you find yourself in deep waters that feels like sharks swimming around and scared when you're mixing, maybe mastering's for you. I don't know, maybe it is. Try it. But if you find yourself wanting to be able to do this and feeling in your head this way where you're just freaking mad when things don't go the way they want in the car and this and that, then you're thinking the aggressive way, or you got to start thinking that way, because it's going to help. It's going to help. You'll solve problems, and then you'll put back what needs to be put back, which is a way better way to look at it than like, ooh, I finally solved that problem. You don't know if you just solved it by the skin of your teeth or you really solved it. You have to really solve it, and then by solving it, you understand more too. So you're able to help yourself get the mix better on all aspects later. Once you start looking at it this way, it's a mental, you'll get there. It's a mental. You guys got this. We could talk all day like this, but we don't have to because we do this every day. So I'll see you guys later in another one. Evan Jaffe, Custom Cut Studios. Take it easy.